Oh,
There it
there
is.
we go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Sister Abigail's a shapeshifter.
Shifter. Thinking.
Yeah.
That reminds me, man, I'm sorry to just dive right in, but this ties in to what we were talking about before we turned the thing on, what we're going to talk about all night. Man, have you watched the, Major Wrestling Figure Podcast Draft?
No, I didn't see that.
It's great, man. I mean, they apparently did one a year ago, and they've done one more recently because I think it's Wednesday. They're starting like the podcast version of their shows they're booking.
Yeah.
And man, I'm telling you, it is. Here's the thing. I'm not no mincing words. I am not the world's biggest Matt Cardona guy. He's just he's a little too dickish for me, to be honest. But I love me some Brian Myers.
Yeah.
Brian Myers takes a crap in his Cheerios by drafting Macho Man that's worth watching the whole thing for, because man, you can just tell Matt had the draft plan to draft Randy, and then it just slipped his mind. He explains that, and it's just like he is heartbroken, man.
What?
Dude, he offers him a trade at the end that I would have taken in a second, but Brian's having so much fun torturing him. It's like, oh man, this is rough to watch, dude. It's great, man. I'll send it to you, man. It's too funny.
I listened to their show, their San Diego Comic-Con review, and I heard some of the fallout from it. And that's, it's one of those parts of the show when they get to anything that they mention about their Patreon, I'm just like, skip. Like,
Y'all still talk about this?
Yeah. Hopefully that's what they're doing, is the plan is to do the Figure Podcast show and do a separate one for that going forward. Because there were times listening to their show, they would go at length on it. I'm like, I just don't want to hear about this fake ass show.
Dude, seriously, the draft is worth watching. It's quite good.
Okay.
I think that I shouldn't say. I mean, they both do well because, dude, I mean, you're fantasy drafting wrestlers from the '90s. There's lots of good guys to go around, but I'm way more interested in Brian's show, man. But that's probably biased, man.
But I mean, it shows, because that's one of the things they get into is he has experience with doing fantasy drafts through fantasy baseball, football, the stuff, and Matt don't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They make that point again where he's like, put 90 seconds on the clock, man. We're not going to, we got to have a timer. We can't have this thing go on all day.
Yeah. We need to have some type of setup.
Yeah, dude, seriously. Rules. God dang it, rules.
Yeah. But one of the cool things I did, because it was scheduled to come out with last weekend being what would have been San Diego Comic-Con. So I watched a cool documentary that I think it's on this very YouTube somewhere down there. It came on the Sci-Fi Network, but it was like Hell If I Want. I think it's the title of it, but it's about Todd McFarlane.
Sweet.
And speaking of guys, I was not a big Todd guy. I guess I have to qualify that. Todd's work, I'm all about, but Todd as the person, from what little bit I've seen him in interviews and stuff, I thought, we couldn't really hang. He seems to be unsufferable. But one of the cool things, he comes off so well in this documentary because he acknowledges that. He's like, I know I'm that person. But there was so much about, it starts with the beginning of his career, the formation of Image, and a lot of the screw-ups that I'd never even heard about, didn't know. Apparently there was, not long after Image had started, there was a lawsuit from Neil Gaiman where there was some characters that got used that I don't know if he just didn't know that he couldn't use or what the situation was, but nonetheless, Neil got his money. So as far as I know, they're good. But it's really, really good, and I really enjoyed watching it. I think, and another thing that they didn't really beat you over the head with in this documentary, but I would, if I was directing it, I would have been tempted to point this out a lot more than they did. But uh, 3 or 4 summers ago, when Black Panther was out and everybody was going crazy about, oh, the first time there's ever been a black superhero movie, and you want to look at Spawn that came out in '98, it's like, where was the love for that movie? And although comparing Spawn and Black Panthers, that is like uncomparable, but the fact remains there was a black superhero in major motion movie picture theaters, and not long after that you had Blade, and they always get forgotten about.
Blade's the one that irks me a little bit more, simply because that is Marvel. Because even when they try and do it's the first black Marvel superhero. No, that's not true either. Because the Spawn thing is real easy. Spawn thing is real simple. That was New Line Cinema, I'm pretty sure, that put out Spawn. Yeah, Mickey Mouse didn't own that then, so you're not going to hear about that. So that's exactly where it's the exact same thing that happened with Captain Marvel. People like, that's the first ever girl superhero, and it's like, it's not. It's the first Marvel one. And that's okay if we're just talking about the MCU. But okay, I'm with you. When you branch out, it's not, you're wrong, seriously. But the Spawn movie is such a, I feel bad because it's one of those things. It's kind of like Jimmy the King, man. I am a massive John Leguizamo fan. I think that guy is insanely good and takes very different roles and weird roles and is just awesome. Yeah. And he's unrecognizable in that because of the suit, but the talent you can't miss. That guy's awesome, man.
Yeah. Not only that, cool. the Spawn animated show being on HBO, that's some hardcore good stuff that just, doesn't get the love it always deserves, I don't think.
I agree, man. I thought the Spawn animated was very good. I think, and man, this is a very different thing to talk about in the era of Time's Up and Me Too, because, boy, this happened a long time ago. It's difficult to discuss anything related to Sam Keith, but the Max TV show on MTV was fantastic. It was so good, man.
Yeah.
A lot of that Image stuff is really underrated, man. Like, I thought Wildcats, Jim Lee's Wildcats, that's one of the better things he ever did. And I know it's not the X-Men, but he got to write Wildcat. It was so good. That's a great book, man.
But it's a really good documentary, and I was looking for it on YouTube, and sure enough, I think the Sci-Fi Channel has it. You can go check it out and watch it. And it's just Todd was just always one of those guys that I think that there's no bigger Spawn fan than him.
Oh yeah.
And I remember when that book was out, and it was, the biggest thing going. Even then, people were like, "Oh, he's just ripping off all his other characters." Like, he's ripping off good stuff. So why not?
I agree. Spawn was a fun book. I enjoyed it, and I thought that this is when I was a kid, and I just remember this from, like, not even as a comic book, but just reading the context clues along the way to. This is a long time ago now, so I don't feel bad about spoiling it. Mm-hmm. But the character Chapel from Youngblood, that's who they wrote in the book had killed Al Simmons. Al Simmons being Spawn before he spawned. That's who killed him. Yeah. And dude, whenever you go back and look at it, man, like Todd knew from the beginning, because all the like church imagery, like steeples and bell towers and stained glass. It's amazing. He knew exactly what he was doing. And I'm like, I always loved that reveal. And I was like 12 when I read that. And it was a huge deal to me. Then you go and you grow up and you read novels and it's like, oh, that's what foreshadowing is. But I just always appreciated the way he did that. Like, man, that's so cool. Because it's like, we've talked about it, man. The thing that introduces you to things you then love forever is kind of awesome. Like Magic Johnson and Todd McFarlane and Roger Ebert, man, I love these people.
Yeah, man. It was tons of fun to watch, and it's one of those that I saw it coming on, DVR'd it, and got to the end. Like, let me hang on to this. Yeah, I want to check that out again because it's just really, really good.
That's totally awesome. I gotta check that out. I'm glad you told me, man, because I hadn't heard about that at all. I had an interesting what's the word I'm looking for, man? Interaction with Todd McFarlane just this very day,
Cool.
because I went out like we did to
Yeah.
hunt for AEW action figures, and because I swung and missed, I did get looking at the DC multiverse stuff,
That's some good
and
stuff.
some of those are very, very cool. Some of them are
Mhm.
very cool, but there was one that I came across
Mhm.
that is so impossibly cool. It was difficult not to buy it. I resisted, but man, the freaking animated series one,
Yeah, man.
dude, that thing is
Yep.
so sweet. I'm like, oh, you're gonna wind up with this. It's like,
Yep.
oh man, that is so cool. What a neat idea. It's
Yeah.
the DC Direct idea, but they are all supposed to go together. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
that's cool, man. That's
Yeah.
really, and those are nice. Those are quite nice. The for
There's a Batman and a Superman.
God dang it, that's
just to make this worse on you.
just had my Steve Carell moment, didn't I? God. The one that I saw today, and this is not my style because it's like we talked about with what made DC Direct so cool is that you're basing it off of a very particular book, which means it's a particular artist style. So if you want 600 Batman figures, you can have them, and they're all
Yeah.
cool and they're unique, and that's totally what Todd is doing. This, on the other hand, is based off the movie version,
Mhm.
but anybody that's a fan of the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman should get that sucker. That thing
Yeah.
is, it's not the most frightening action figure I've ever seen as far as likeness, but it's really good. It's
Yeah.
there's like a movie poster or something. It's a picture of her right there next to it, so you can do what I did and just go back and forth
Ah.
like, God dang, it's very impressive, man. But yeah, that's cool. I was just taking notes, and I'm like, Todd, you're doing good here, brother. But I think I'm about to wind up with that animated series one, man, because I've always loved that look anyway, man. Just the gigantic chest and the Dick Tracy jaw. Love the way that stuff. You mentioned the Spawn animated,
Mhm.
the Batman animated. That gum. I'm sorry, y'all. Um, they're both so good. I mean, just so
Yeah.
impossibly good. I know a lot of people love the 90s X-Men cartoon, and they should. It was great. I mean,
Mhm.
that was an awesome story. But it's nuts when you look at animated cartoon series for comic books in the late 90s, man. That's really impressive. We just named four of them top of our heads that are all fantastic, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the
That.
Japanese Fantastic Four, I'm sorry, the French Fantastic Four that the man hooked me up with for Christmas a few years back. That's so underrated. I
Oh
was
man,
impressed as crap with that. It's so good.
that's good stuff right there.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that's on that part of the. Speaking of Disney owning everything, that was one of the ones that pops up when you do the Disney Plus app. It's like you got all that stuff too. So it's like,
Fan-
well, cool.
Fantastic Four, they are positioning Fantastic Four. It just feels like early days with the ground kind of trembling. I'm not saying Fantastic Four is going to be the next Avengers because X Men's going to be the next Avengers, but Fantastic Four, they got plans. They've
Yeah.
got it's exactly what we talked about with Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. If that's who if you're trying to get Emily Blunt to play Susan Storm, oh baby, you got plans, and I'm excited because I'm a Fantastic Four dork. My buddy Matt actually sent me a picture today. He had gone out to the comic book store. My buddy Matt. I've talked about my buddy Darian before, who I promise I'm not going to go into this immediately, but my buddy
Yeah.
Darian is my Atlanta United tag partner.
Mhm.
And Matt, they're a couple. That's them.
Mhm.
And Matt's an awesome dude because Matt's like favorite things that we have in common are comic books and Criterion Collection movies. So obviously Matt and I've been talking a bunch lately because it's like it's sale time. But he had gone out, and I'm assuming that it's one of the omnibus because he loves those. That is
Mhm.
his collection, and it's the
Cool.
freaking Mark Waid Fantastic Four. And he sent me a picture of. He's like, man, I was thinking about you when I bought this, man. Check it out. And I'm like, holy crap, I didn't know they were doing that. He's like, I didn't know it was out yet either.
Yeah.
But my point about that, I told him, and it really is true. No disrespect to John Byrne, because John Byrne's Fantastic Four is Hall of Fame fantastic.
Mhm.
Stan and Jack, that stuff holds up.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman, all that stuff is fantastic. And as much as I love all of those, man, the Mark Waid stuff is my favorite by a considerable distance. And it's like, God, with that kind of competition, it shouldn't be that far out front. But holy crap, I was thrilled. I'm like, God, dude, I'm excited for you. I got to go read them now, man, because now I'm all excited. Love that stuff, man.
I was. I into those omnibuses for a while, and it just got to the point where it's like I can't read all these. But man, anytime they do a good one like that, it's like, why not?
Man, I'm with you. I've got I think I got rid of all my omnibuy. The only one I regret getting rid of, honestly, is the Straczynski Thor. I should have kept that because it was manageable. I mean, it was one that you could read and it wasn't a problem, and you could, because whenever they're so big you can't enjoy the art, it's like, that's kind of a bummer. But I'm just more of a trade guy. I've got some hard, like the yearbook hardbacks. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody but us, but I know you know what I'm talking about. Those are my favorites, but they don't do them anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of cool stories I heard on podcasts, I'll try not to spoil it too terribly hard, but it was Kevin Smith was on his show. It's not Fat Man on Batman anymore. It's Fat Man Beyond, because copyright stuff. But he was talking about the Quibi app and how apparently it lost a bunch of money and all this stuff. But apparently there's going to be a series on that app that made me think, well, I might need to sign up just to watch this, but because it involves the Russo brothers. And what the Russo brothers are doing is it's called Slugfest. And essentially what they're doing is going back and doing like, I guess you could call it like it's not drunk history, but basically a recreation of classic moments in comic book history. They do the death of Robin and what was going on at that time, the death of Superman, which a lot of people know was like they were gonna marry Lois and Clark, and the TV show was going at that time, and they were like, nah, we don't want that going on in the books because we don't want confusion. And in frustration, they were like, well, let's just kill him. And then they were like, hey, I think we have something here. So, but
that's not a bad idea.
I think we've got something here.
I got you, kill his ass. You go ahead and you put him in the ground.
That won't cause confusion on the show.
Terry Hatcher killed Superman.
He got into telling this story about I'm fairly certain it was Steve Englehart, and I don't know what episode it's from, but just hearing the story makes me want to track it down. So I've got to see this, where they're Steve Englehart, and they're doing the Doctor Strange story, and they're getting into heavy on like there was the issue where Doctor Strange essentially met God.
Yeah.
And Stan was like, and to his credit, one of the things that they pointed out with a lot of the interviews, because a lot of these guys are still around and can do interviews, they were like, Stan read every single letter that came in. And when we put that story across Stan's desk, the instant he saw it, he's like, guys, I don't need the religious people coming after me with a story like this. So, but they keep going in the story, and they go into Stan's office one day, and they're like, remember that story? I think it's going to be a great idea. I got a letter sitting right here. You there?
Oh, yeah, man.
I think it just went kind of funky on me. I got a letter sitting right here that says, there's a priest in God knows where that is using your stories to teach his congregation. Without missing the beat, Steve Englehart's like, we wrote that letter.
Fantastic. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we wrote that letter.
That was us. We had to teach the flock.
just hearing that alone is like, man, I've got to track this. Got to track this down. I don't know if there's even a fee to sign up for Quibi. I'll watch it with commercials or whatever, but I got to check that stuff out.
Seriously, dude. You did Englehart, and I'm afraid I maybe like shuddered a little bit, and I want to clear the record there, man. Englehart is Kurt Busiek is probably my favorite Avengers writer ever. Brother Englehart's close. I love that stuff. You go back and read his stuff from the 70s and his Captain America stuff from like 73, 74. That guy was awesome. He is so good, man. I love that stuff, man. But a lot of his, man, what's the one I'm trying to think of? And that's not the huge one. He had a couple of massive stories on the Avengers, but it was gosh almighty, it's the one where Mantis gets married to the tree, and I can't believe I forgot. Oh, the Celestial Madonna. That's it. I love that story. It's so weird. Like, God, what am I reading? I love this. That guy's awesome, man.
And that's one of the things that he mentions in the early interviews. Like, it was the 70s. We were all on something, and that was fueling what was going down.
The freaking Secret Empire, which is the thing where that's where Captain America quits, because basically it's not Nixon, but it's Nixon, where he basically Cap finds out that the president is, I don't think he was Hydra, but he was like Mr. X, who was like the head bad guy. And so he follows him into the Oval Office, and the president commits suicide in front of him, and Cap's like, what is this place? What am I doing? Why in the world am I walking around with this flag on? I don't even know what it means anymore. So then he became Nomad, and it's like, I tell my friends all the time, because I catch crap from my buddies for being such a Cap fan. So they're like, it's just stupid. It's that John Wayne, red, white, and blue Tim Tebow crap. And I'm like, you do realize that burnouts from California are the people that were hired to write these books, right? I promise you, they weren't writing GOP propaganda. I assure you. It's like, read Captain America. Captain America was doing live commentary on the Vietnam War. It's literally, Steve Englehart was writing the script for Platoon in real time. It's shocking stuff. It's fantastic, man.
Yeah, man.
All the Cap Man Without a Country stuff is like, it's hard, man. It's rough, dude. The Englehart stuff also, that was where Black Panther showed up and made Falcon his wings, and it's freaking awesome, man. Talking earlier about black superheroes, man, like 72, 73, man, you have Captain America with, like, basically in his own book, his, like, main tag team partner is the Falcon, who's a black guy, and then Black Panther shows up, and he becomes the lead because Black Panther is the lead. Black Panther's like Reed, man. Whenever Reed Richards shows up anywhere, that's the guy you defer to as far as intellect, and even something I love. We talked about it with I think it was that movie, the Kill Fest you watched earlier today. One of my favorite scenes in that is when Cap and Black Panther are running to the front, and they're like stride for stride, and I love that because that's Captain America as far as battlefield general goes, and it's T'Challa as king of people that need him. And I love that shot. And also that was always the way that Cap and T'Challa were always presented in the book, man, is that's like, give this man a shield. For us dorks that have loved those two characters for a long time, that silly line is a lot more meaningful than it should have been, because it's like the instant respect, and it's just like, it's T'Challa, for God's sake, he's a king, but it's just like, hook this guy up, and immediately Cap is like, thank you, Your Highness. It's fantastic. The Mutual Appreciation Society between Steve Rogers and T'Challa has always been one of the coolest things in Marvel, and it's been like since day one. It's great. Yeah, that stuff excites me. I get so dorky about that stuff, man.
And I watched the Infinity War last night and a little bit again today, and I it's one of those that from start to finish I had not watched since the theater.
I'm the same way. I've seen it once.
And it's one of those that, man, it's a dang good one for that reason, because when it gets to the snap and everything that goes down, this was pointed out to me, and I remembered to watch it with this in mind, is that the snap happens and everybody's fading away, and they get to Scarlet Witch and Vision. She's the only one that, as she is kind of blown away, there's the look on her face like, thank God, this is relief, I don't want to be here anymore. And that, when you watch it that way, it's like, oh, it's even worse. God.
You know what I'm gonna say, because I say it every time, but I'm telling you, I don't believe phase 3 or phase 12 or phase whatever the hell we're supposed to be going into next. I don't buy it. I've never bought it. I don't believe any of it. None of it. The next phase is to make the X-Men the first and foremost and frontline team. And you're going to do that by basically doing the movie version of House of M. I can't wait. I want WandaVision to be
That might happen on WandaVision.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that WandaVision is this weird fever dream kaleidoscope acid trip that then turns into, wait a minute, I can't wait. I am so excited. That's why I'm so excited about WandaVision. I'm like, this is going to be either the one way or the other. It's either going to be like the coolest standalone story they've ever done, because the Scarlet Witch is an impossibly cool character. There is so much awesome stuff about her, especially now that you can play up the fact that her old man is Magneto. I can't wait. Oh, God, that's going to be so awesome. It's like we talked about, man. I think that in Avengers Disassembled, I love the idea of them doing a story where Charles Xavier and Doctor Strange are the two key components as to why these things were separated to begin with. The fact that you had the studios buy the shit up, man, you can make such an unbelievably cool story out of that if you get them back together. So if you write a story where Charles has always been aware of Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange has always been aware of Charles, like the Illuminati series. Charles, no! Like the Illuminati series they did. You can do some amazing crap with that. Dude, especially if you keep McAvoy and obviously you're keeping Cumberbatch. Dude, come on, man. And also, like we said, it's why DC needs to hurry up with that multiverse, man, because James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart being in the same movie is going to happen again. It's going to happen again. It's coming. Yeah. It's coming. I just can't wait. I think it just seems to me that the things you could do with that story, and as far as Thanos made a lot of sense with his philosophy, but if you want that justified villain, oh my God, I think they can do so much unbelievably cool stuff. And also, I'm very
we got a villain for you.
Oh boy, like we said, you and I have been talking about this for God. How long have we been doing this show, man? I think we talked about Avengers. We were reviewing like, I don't know, the third or fourth show. So it's all like, yes, it's like this is what I've wanted the whole time. And man, oh God, if they wind up making Wanda the focal point, oh my God, I can't wait. I just can't wait.
Heck yeah. But man, we sat down and talked last, and it was all laggy. Hopefully that didn't mess up too bad. One of the things I forgot to mention was I just listened to the countdown to F-Town.
Oh my God. Dude, I finally listened to it yesterday, so this is going to be a fantastic conversation.
Man, it's more of maybe we mentioned it a little bit, just talking about the fact that how you going to have two guys like that working for you, and it's like, nah, I'm just not going to use you. So that's just the type of people that we have running this company that I don't watch anymore.
I'm 100% with you. Their Wednesday night product, I still very much enjoy. I'm saying this to get it out of the way. The new Adam Cole storyline is the dumbest thing in the world, but that's okay. Like we said, man.
Him and Pat McAfee getting into it.
That is the stupidest junk in the world. It's stupid. Let's get past that as quick as we can. But there's other stuff that's real cool. So it's like, all right, you can have your one swing and a miss, but that's terrible. But everything else is cool. But I'm with you. Anything else? The Monday night show, SmackDown comes on Fridays. I don't know anything about those shows because I do not care. It's like, dude, no matter who the talent is, if you're working for that guy, I hate that. I've hated that guy my whole life. I have hated Vince McMahon's booking style literally my entire fandom, which is, Jesus Christ, 34 years now?
Yeah.
Vince's style has, I liked Hulk Hogan for about 2 years. I liked the Ultimate Warrior for about 12 minutes. And that was it. That was it. Until I enjoyed WWE during the 90s because WCW was whipping his ass so bad, he just tucked tail and ran. So other people, we talked about it, man. The Attitude Era is like the Yankees in the 90s, but Vince wants to be George. It's like, no. Steinbrenner getting kicked out of baseball is what led to them being what they were, because Gene Michael got left alone and was allowed to draft Derek Jeter, sign Bernie Williams, sign Andy Pettitte, draft Jorge Posada. Golly, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? There's 5 of them. There were 5 core guys on that team, and I can't believe now I forgot.
Mariano.
Thank you. Exactly. Sign Rivera.
Yeah.
Those 5 guys changed everything. And then Gene is smart enough to supplement that team with Paul O'Neill, with Tino Martinez, with Scott Brocious. And that first team was Tim Raines and shucks, it'll come back to me in a second, man. But those teams are shockingly, amazingly good. Like we talk about it, man. We're the only 2 people in Atlanta that don't constantly bitch, but the Braves should have won more rings. It's like, do you realize who they were up against to try and get those? No.
Yeah.
96, and then 98 through 2000. Those Yankee teams were staggering, man. Unbelievable. Yeah. And that's when they kicked Homie out of the way, and nobody kicked Vince out of the way, that he was such a little wounded bitch, basically. He had to just lie in his little hole and, complain. It's like, I'm going to draw the parallel because they're such good buddies. It's like Trump the other day. They were talking about, there are 150,000 people in America dead from this now, right? What do you think about that, Mr. President? Nobody likes me. It's like, yep, that's Vince, all right. Oh, it's all about me, and they don't, oh, no, it didn't work. And it's like,
what about me?
Oh, no, mister. What's going to happen to my paper? I wish I could do that voice. It's a joke from the Skeleton Twins. And the best part about it, it's funny anyway, but the best part about it is you can completely tell that it's just made up. It's just them trying to make each other laugh. And so I don't know what they're talking about, man. But it's like they're messing around because it's Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader. And obviously they're buds. They know each other. They work very well together. And so they're like wrestling around, and it's so stupid. And she says something like, oh man, your elbow is digging into my arm or something like that. And the way she says it is real kind of whiny and squawky. So he jumps on it and starts saying it back in the same voice. And then she's all like, oh no, mister, your elbow's digging into my arm. Oh, my paper route's going to be ruined. It's so hilarious the way she says it. And the best part about it is that Bill Hader is in the movie playing us on screen because he's dying, man. That movie's very good anyway, but that one scene is so stupid. I laugh like hell every time because somehow she does this ridiculous voice and then just ratchets it up, and it's like, how in the world did you do that? Oh no!
She's got a crazy side. It's a crazy person.
Fantastic. That's a good movie, man. I love that movie.
Yep.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get sidetracked, man. What were we talking about? We're talking about wrestling and how sorry WWE is.
Man, there was a lot of stories that came out of the Doc and Carl podcast. It was like, that's on brand. I think that's on brand. And that's on brand.
Yeah, I loved it. I really enjoyed the show. Well, I was telling you before we got started, there were, I said 2, but I think there were actually 3 things about it that really jumped out. One, I feel bad that Carl Anderson needed his time to deal with getting fired. And some people do. I'm like that. Shoot, when I got fired, it takes me a hot minute to get up, so I get that. But it's fascinating to me that Doc, on the other hand, is all like, oh, I've been here, no problem, man. Just, you keep it together, remain the best wrestler on earth, and I'm going to get us booked, and we'll be fine. It was just cool. I think that's neat that tag partnership is one thing, but then being friends is cool too. Business partners is different. I'm like, I just really like that. I thought that was very cool. I love learning them.
They're telling the story, even a terrible situation. It's funny. Just hear the Carl's in the situation. I was definitely in his shoes where that phone call came through. He's like, what?
Yeah, seriously.
And because I would have been in the same boat. I would have been like, we just signed. How am I getting this phone call?
Yeah, seriously, man.
And but then I can definitely see Doc's version of it too, where it's kind of like, been through this before.
Yeah, seriously.
You said, I just talked to your tag partner. About what?
About what? All right. You and your boss. And fine, we'll be fine. I'm gonna go make money over here now. Bye.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, one of the other things I'd said there were three, and now I can remember two. But I just thought that it's just weird to me that whenever people make excuses or squelch or act like punks on podcasts or interviews or what have you, we hear about it forever. Carl Anderson, I'm sorry, absolutely bit down on them jobbing the Bucks and jobbing Jericho, and he owned it, man. Didn't try to sugarcoat it or nothing. He's like, yeah, we absolutely are friends, and it was just like, it sucks, man. We obviously made a mistake, chose the wrong one, but this was the money we were looking at, and this is why we did it. I thought it was totally fair. I thought their opinion, I thought their assessment of it was cool, and I thought he was very responsible about it. Like, look, what we did was wrong. It sucks, but this is why we did it. And I'm like, man, that's good on you for telling that story that way, man.
I don't think there's many people in that situation that wouldn't have made the decision that he made. I just could not see. And there's and another thing that's on brand is there's so many stories of leaving that company that just Triple H just has that affliction of foot and mouth disease, and a lot of time it's after the fact when you're thinking back on conversations, you're kind of like, that mother effer just told me that. I just, when I look at you, I think of your kids.
Yeah.
And, A&W, they may not always be here. We'll be here for you. And I don't think when people tell the stories that they're trying to say, well, Triple H is just this terrible guy. I don't think that's what he was insinuating.
Yeah, I agree.
But after having a conversation with a guy like that, why wouldn't you sign with that company? Like, man, these guys are going to do right by all of us.
Yeah. It's like Carl was saying. It worked. It was like, yeah, man. It's like Tripp's like, we weren't talking business. It was cool. I thought all that was really interesting and quite cool. Shoot, I don't remember what I was going to say, but it don't matter. But like the point you were making about how anybody's going to sign that deal, I agree. And I think it's why the story between the two of them and the Jacksons and Jericho ends the way it does. Because they point blank tell you in the interview, man, everybody's cool now. It's because there was some hurt feelings and they were pissed, and they should have been, because we told them point blank, yeah, we're kind of like they said, but they tell the story of what the first Dynamite was supposed to be, and oh my God, it was way cooler.
It would have been a banger.
It was cool. It was way cooler than what we got, so I can see why it ticked everybody off. But also, I think you're right. I really do, and I think that's why everybody's kind of like, yeah, it makes sense, man. I get it. So that's cool, but I'm still standing by. You can tell me that they didn't sign with AEW because of water under the bridge, but I disagree. It's that New Japan deal, and I'm chewing that bone to death, man. And I'm really, like I said, I'm enjoying AEW these days, but that non-open door to go work in Japan policy, it's gonna bite you in the ass. It is, because it's just like that's a cool thing. Well, Moxley gets to go. Great, Moxley gets to go. I bet he don't go back. I don't know what they're gonna do with that U.S. title. That was something else that I could not believe. They let John Moxley have the U.S. title with the view, of course, with Carl Anderson coming back, kicking his ass and taking it off of him, and then that didn't work. And I'm like, well, why'd you put the thing on Moxley to begin with? What are you going to do with it?
It's going to be there.
It's all good if they just take the New Japan U.S. title and throw it in the ocean anyway. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's freaking cursed, dude. You gave it to Omega, he left. You've given it to Moxley. Who the hell knows you'll ever see it again? It's like, this is just silly, man.
Yeah. But it's the other story that came out of the show that was kind of like not much of a shock is the Paul Heyman's a liar story. Like, where you been? Where you been, brother?
Like I said before we got started, that one don't pass the spell test to me, man. It feels to me like Heyman is going to wind up in Impact. And I could be totally wrong. It might be because the idea that Paul Heyman point blank lied to us to our faces, and I'm with you. It's like, it's only every Jim Cornette story ever. But my thing with the the smell test, it's like I was telling you, man. How many times can you tell me, Vince? Oh, Vince. Oh, my God, Vince. The demigod Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is the alpha and the omega of WWE. Oh, you got fired. That's Paul's fault. I don't believe that for a second. Stop. Don't tell me the guy makes every damn decision under the sun except this one that you don't like. Get out of here. That's crap.
Yeah. You know, maybe Vince in his old age can be persuaded, but still, I don't think that that was totally
on this one thing.
Yeah,
you're still telling me it's a good idea. Half the crap they put on television is the way we're doing it because that's what Vince wants. But this one damn decision, that's Paul Heyman. Get the hell out of here. It's the same thing. Like I was saying, man. Every single thing that has happened in Bulls history since Michael Jordan. We got Michael Jordan. Yeah, but he never made the playoffs without Phil. Oh, that's not his fault. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So your little hero is always the man when things go well, but it's never no responsibility on him whatsoever. All right, cool. If you say so. That junk is crap, man. Get out of here. That's garbage.
That wasn't me.
Dude, seriously.
Sister Abigail's a shapeshifter.
Sister Abigail, my God. How many useless people are going to get thrown on the Bray Wyatt barge to drag them to stardom? My God, man. It's like, oh, Lord, this is so embarrassing. Whatever, man. And to be honest with you, let's be totally fair about the situation, because, of course, I didn't watch the show. So whenever everybody's reaction, Jesus, every single freaking thumbnail for it was her in the little veil doing the Sister Abigail thing. And I'm just like, Alexa, are you kidding me? God, they're trying to make her relevant too. Then, to be totally fair, I press play and I watch the video, and they remind me that something I completely forgot about was Team Little Big. I completely forgot about that. And of course, when they bring it up, it's like, you're right. That's a great idea. This is exactly who he would see. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Let it go there. You don't have to keep going, because when you keep going, it's stupid. But really, my initial reaction was, of course, negative because it's her and I hate her. But that was an awesome idea. Like, man, as soon as I watched the reviews and they explained it, I'm like, you're right. This is excellent.
It's going to work. And I think they had the whole Braun Strowman hallucination. Pretty little girl on this won't. Uh-oh. Bray done got me.
Bray got me now.
And now that opens the door for the Fiend to be like, well, now I'm really going to make him give me that title match when I kill you.
Yeah, I guess so, man. It's
but everybody thinking, oh, that's who Sister Abigail is. Like, no, there ain't never gonna be one. I think we're to the point now. Just be confident in the fact that there's never gonna be one.
Yeah, it's Sister Abigail for Braun. That's what was cool about it. It's like, oh my God, Alexa Bliss is Sister Abigail, and then you watch it with the explanation. It's like, of course, that's what he sees. It was good. That was really, really a cool idea. And I'm like, of course, I hated it instantly, but it was just like, well, you messed up and you knee-jerked on that, because then once you hear it, it's like, yeah, guys, that's smart. That's pretty sharp, man.
Yeah. So I never got around to watching the Talking Shop of Mania. I'll get there on that, because I'm tempted to watch that. But if you haven't gone back and watched their podcast, I think it's on YouTube too. You can go check it out. Seriously. The other thing what we were talking about, it's a quick hour and 20. It is flies right on by.
Absolutely. When you see the runtime, it's like, oh, cool, this will be on for a minute. And then it seemed like it was over instantly, man, because they're just so entertaining. It just flies right by, man. You can do that, and you can do the figure draft, because it's like that was a long one too, but it zooms right by, man. But it's worth it. I feel, like I said, man, I'm not a Matt Cardona guy, but I was very sympathetic by the time it was over, because he was just kicking himself over Randy, and I felt bad, because it was like, man, I've done that on like fantasy draft on 2K. Like, you'll see somebody go by in the 4th round, and it's like, what the? No, they couldn't have been available. How did I not know that? It's like,
why?
Seriously, I'm like, this game is stupid. I'd be the worst GM in sports ever because as soon as my guy gets taken, it's just dumb.
I quit. Gone.
Sports are stupid.
The world's crashing down on me.
Seriously, why does everybody have to get me?
I did not do you.
Nobody likes me.
Man, the sky's falling in Atlanta sports. Again, I watched the game tonight, and you would have thought that Mike Soroka's leg had literally fallen off the way Chip Carey was going on about it. Like, hopefully that's not what happened. It looked bad, but hopefully it was just a hamstring pull, or they were the worst case scenario, and Achilles, which would be awful. But people are just like, oh my God, what are we going to do?
It's very sad. And it's only because I live here. I'm assuming that most sports towns are like this, but man, the doom and gloom, jump off the cliff attitude of sports fans drives me nuts. They won 6 games in a row. You didn't hear nothing. Mike Soroka gets an injury. Praise.
It's over.
I can't stand it. This is so pitiful. My God, y'all. Oh, my God.
Heck yeah. But between the Braves season being over, we got our soccer team is in shambles yet again.
I told the man that I do apologize for the audio issues on the last episode. But don't worry, because the audio episode couldn't have been nearly as distracting as my luscious haircut, which I do love. But I just I had to wear my hat this week, so I remembered to talk about it because I completely forgot to discuss it on the last show. I just completely forgot about it. And it's the firing of Frank DeBoer, which it's weird. Part of me feels the same way I felt when Georgia Tech got rid of Paul Johnson, because I'm so tired of hearing people bitch about it. It's a relief. It's Wanda. Oh, dude, you just turn to dust, and it's like, cool, leave him alone. Frank DeBoer, I'm not sure people ever had the same attitude about him getting hired in the first place. Excuse me, that I had. So I'll tell you what my attitude was. I think there's one of two views you can take on Major League Soccer and USA Soccer. One of two. Some people want their club, in this case Atlanta United, to be Barcelona, to be Real Madrid, to be Man United, to be Liverpool, to be just dominant, win every single year, win all the trophies all the time. Yeah, because that's what they do in Europe. But you know what they don't do in Europe? Mm-hmm. Revenue share. So it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you will start building academies and start training kids at a young age how to play disciplined and genius soccer, you might actually win a World Cup one day. As it seems, and that sounds insane. The idea of the United States winning the World Cup sounds crazy, but let me tell you something. We have a much better chance of winning the World Cup, or at least competing for the World Cup. Final 8, Final 4, hey, we might be in the final one day. We have a much better chance over the next 20 years of actually winning the World Cup than MLS has of ever becoming a forefront league in the world. Because it's not a talent thing, it's not a money thing. I don't give a damn how much money you pump into it. I don't care how much talent you have. I don't care if Leo Messi is reborn tomorrow and plays for Dallas, FC Dallas. It doesn't matter. What matters is people are obsessed with their teams. See what I mean? It's like the domestic leagues in soccer are shocking. The English league, people think the NFL is a big deal. Get the fuck out of here, man. There are clubs worth more than the NFL collectively. So it's like, that's not what it's about, man. I love MLS. I think it's great. But the idea of it being this like worldwide phenomenon of like, yes, this is the bastion of soccer. This is where you go to see quality. That's not it. The best you can hope for is for people to look over and say, young American talent is very competitive, maybe even very good, but most importantly, very cheap. And then you start funneling guys to Europe. That's the best you can hope for. If we have players that show out on European clubs, that's the best you can hope for, man. And that is what Atlanta United has been trying to do since day one. You have the academy produce your first team talent, then you then sell that first team talent to Europe. You have crazy money. You're worth a crap ton of money. And it's all about the youth system and the academy. This all sounds insane, but I'm right. I'm telling you, I'm right. Because if your youth players are real good, then go to Europe and get hard and play very, very well, every 4 years when you have an international tournament, you're ready to kick some ass.
Yeah.
And this is not tomorrow. This isn't anytime soon. But that's what Atlanta's been trying to do. Because anyway, running Major League Soccer is never going to happen again. DC did it at the very beginning. It won't happen again because revenue sharing means you can't do that. The whole point with hiring Frank DeBoer was to put an Ajax guy as your head man, basically to oversee the youth academy, because there is no youth academy like Ajax. People could go, oh, Barcelona. Let me tell you something about Barcelona. There's a man named Johan Cruyff. Google him. Without Johan Cruyff, Barcelona doesn't exist. And Johan Cruyff is not only a product of the Ajax system, but he kept it going forever and won there and then moved on to Barcelona and revolutionized the way they play in Spain, because in Spain now they want to be Dutch. That's what happened. That's why he got the job. It's why I love him. And it's kind of like when Jurgen Klinsmann, I can say it. I had that Doc Gallows thing going on, man. I haven't drank in a while, so that's immediately the red wine choke slam, baby.
Larthengar.
Dude, seriously, man. Jurgen Klinsmann was hired to be the national coach for the USA. And I remember I was working with a guy named Rob at the time who was he claimed to be a big soccer fan. And he said, what do you think about Klinsmann being I got to do my, what's his name, man? Vince Russo impersonation, because Rob was from New Jersey. What do you think about Klinsmann being the coach, bro? And I said, let me tell you something. If you're hiring Klinsmann to win cups, you'll fire him immediately. But if you're hiring him to revolutionize your youth system and actually build a club, build a team at the national level, you need to leave him alone for 15 years and just let him do what he does. And, of course, they fired him because we didn't win, and it's like, we ain't ready to win. Same thing with DeBoer and Atlanta United. You should not have hired him to come in and just win stuff. He did win stuff. He won 2 trophies his first year, but he's not Tata. He doesn't have a cute nickname, so we had to get rid of him. It's just like, again, part of me's glad he's gone, just so I don't hear people bitch about him anymore. But at the same time, for what they were trying to do with him, you're going to regret this, man, because focusing on the youth of God, man, you want your guys you want your academy kids to be your first team. No MLS club has ever done that. Let's be the first one to do it. It'll be great. Because then instead of buying Miggy Almiron, then selling him to Newcastle for big money, you won't buy anybody and you'll sell them to fill in the blank for huge money.
All the monies.
Yeah, man. It sucks. I'm going to miss him because I like Ajax, and I was glad we hired an Ajax guy. But again, the style is just totally different. And people really, just listen to sports talk about it on the 2 days a week they actually do. People want that balls to the wall, go, 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 score 4, score 5. Oh, my God. People got so excited that first year because they thought that was soccer. That's what the heck's his dadgum name? Oh, my God. The guy, he used to coach at Newcastle. Damn, I want to say it was, Kevin Keegan. Kevin Keegan was this, English legend player. And then he wound up coaching at Newcastle. And by God, his mentality of soccer was, go ahead and score 4. We'll score 5. And people in Atlanta got used to that. So it's, oh, shit, man. Because not giving up goals is the way you actually win things. But it's like, crap, we're used to this now. We want the Keegan Revolution in Atlanta. Oh my God, man, we're up 7-0. Do it again. I don't care.
That's been kind of the MO when it comes to the Braves. Like, we'll eventually outscore you. Maybe we didn't.
It's a crappy admission, but I'll admit it. When we built the new stadium, like we talked about, it's an AL stadium. Every team in the league is building AL stadium. So we had a feeling it was only a matter of time till you get the DH in all the leagues, or both leagues. And that's a union thing like we've talked about. Again, this is like my hope of what they're going to do with the MCU. Same thing. We pegged this stuff a long time ago because this one's easy. The DH in the National League is the easiest thing in the world because it's 15 multimillionaires paying union dues. That's all you need to know. So that being the case, go ahead and build you an American League ballpark. You'll be paying AL ball soon enough.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And with the Braves winning all their home games until today, it's like, yep, they knew what they were doing.
Yep.
All right, guys, go on now.
Heck yeah. It's like, I think it's going to be fine.
Everybody.
I
Want to watch Freddie Freeman hit them dingers.
Yeah, baby.
I do love that guy. Mike and Tony. It's weird. I actually watched Mike and Tony about a week ago, and honest to God, this won't surprise you because you're smarter than I am, and you already know it. But I watched an episode of Pardon the Interruption, and they got to about the first commercial break, and I'm like, God, I haven't missed this a bit. It's weird, but it's just like, man, Tony doesn't bother me quite so much. Sometimes he does. Usually he doesn't. Wilbon makes me nuts. I don't know what happened to him in Atlanta. I don't know if the cheetah kicked him out or the varsity hot dogs made him, gave him even more harsh diarrhea than the rest of us. But he is such a bitch about this town. Like, so, well, don't talk about us then. Just keep us at your fucking mouth, man. God, dude, it's not like Atlanta has any teams you have to talk about. So you going out of your way. Crazy. That guy's a prick, man.
Yeah, that's all I could figure with going into the game yesterday. Cespedes for the Mets was like MIA, and I was like, did him and Lou Williams meet up at Magic City? Or so? Well, what happened?
Sweet Lou, I will never understand why people are going to the mat to defend Sweet Lou for breaking the quarantine, because that's what the bubble is, Sweet Lou. Sorry, but I'm telling you, and I know everything in my life as far as this goes comes back to the NFL, but it's all the NFL because they know there is no bubble for the NFL teams. That's why it won't work. They talk every day about, the Reds have COVID-19, the Phillies, oh my God, COVID-19. It's like, yeah, get used to saying that shit, because if you think the NFL guys are getting away with this, you're wrong.
Yeah.
On the subject of football, screw the NFL, because who gives a big old flying crap. I shouldn't say that because, I've talked about it many times before, but I'll say it again here for the new folks. If there's anybody here for the first time, football for me it's definitely become like fourth on the rung. It's way, way down. Basketball's my favorite. Baseball and soccer are pretty much tied. And then I guess, if it's tied, then that's second. So football I would have third. But I have a very particular way that I watch it. The regular season, I love college ball. Then when it gets to the postseason, you can take that stuff and just absolutely stick it. But I watch the NFL in the postseason because it's fun. Anyway, the golden boy, untouchable, you can do no wrong for the NFL makes me nuts because people just act like, COVID's not going to be a thing in the fall. And it's like, we talked about this from day one. People have been, it'll be over in a couple of months.
It's supposed to die in 80-degree weather.
Have you met anybody that lives in this fucking country? Have you met anyone that lives here? We will not do anything that is the slightest inconvenience to us in any way. So if you're asking people to collectively put their lives on hold for months, we couldn't do it for the 2 months that would have got us ahead of the curve. We never had it. This is the thing. We're not in a second wave of this stuff. It never went away. Because we're not doing that. I gotta get my suntan. I want to get my hair cut. And it's all like, that's us. That's what we are. The attitude that people have about Americans just being the biggest fucking brats on earth, we are. We absolutely are. We are the spoiled little child of planet Earth. And this is what happens. So, surely it'll be over by then. Nope, not going to happen. And I'm getting way sidetracked now, but that's the truth, though, man. It's something that nobody ever wants to. Well, it's because Donald Trump didn't have a national plan. I'm not a Trump guy. I actually think he's a gigantic, gaping, human asshole. I hate the guy. Yeah. But this ain't on him. This is on us. This is on us.
One person.
This is on us. It's on all of us collectively. Yeah. And boy, you want to talk about the sin word in this country. Don't say collective, because we don't do that. Everything here is individual all the time forever. So whatever I want to do individually, that's what I'm going to do. Well, okay then, fine. But that's why we're never getting out of this thing. As far as we have to bend the curve, that is never going to happen here. Going back to when we talked about it the first time, you will never see the curve dip here. The only thing you're going to see with COVID-19 in this country is when the media decides to stop talking about it. That's it. That's it. We will never dip down, ever, because we're just too fucking spoiled. That's it. We are. So that's us. And what happens as far as I'm going to go out and do what I want to, eventually you're going to break the spirit of the people. I don't care how box ticky they are on keeping my 6 feet from people. I'm socially isolating. I wear my mask. I wash my hands. I get my hand sanitizer. You're going to burn them out. So eventually you're going to get those people being like, well, fuck this. I'm going to do whatever I want to too. So that's why we are where we are. Anyway, sorry, I got way sidetracked, but it does tie into more of the NFL thinks they're bulletproof and they're not.
Yeah.
But you can have guys on NFL fields drop dead and people won't care. People will not care, and it's like, this sucks. Anyhow, the
Somebody
sweet Lou,
take your place.
the sweet Lou thing. Oh man, free Lou Williams. Nah, fuck Lou. I don't love Sweet Lou. Sweet Lou's a former Hawk, baby. I love him, but you broke quarantine. Fuck you. You can sit your ass in the hotel room for 14 days, and if you come back sick, you can go home and you can give us that paycheck on the way out the door.
Yeah.
That's what you can do, and the NFL won't do that because, first of all, the guys don't get paid anyway. But
it wasn't good enough just to go to one of the fine strip establishments in Tampa. He had to come all the way up here.
Hey man, the man has heard of Magic City. They don't call it that for nothing. It's funny. I think it's interesting, man. I'm actually proud of Magic City. Pardon me, because the Magic City is just down the way.
It's the reason why the Hawks will never be worth a damn.
Magic City is just down the way from the Cheetah, which was like world renowned for a hot minute. Magic City's done took that throne back. They have snatched that crown off their head and gone right back. But I actually heard an interesting thing about why the Hawks actually will never be any good. It's kind of like you're talking about. And people get mad when you say, it's like, nah, man, Vegas, man, Vegas. Well, let me tell you something about Vegas versus Atlanta. There are a lot more melanated citizens in Atlanta. So when you talk about the strip club capital of the world and you say, no, it's Vegas, man, Vegas. No, you're thinking of showgirls. Yeah, there are strippers out there, but you're thinking of showgirls. But for impossibly lovely and fantastically beautiful Nubian women, this is the place. Atlanta is the strip club capital of the world, which means Atlanta is the side chick capital of the world. And that's why Atlanta will never be worth a damn. Because ain't no free agent ever going to come to Atlanta because he likes coming to Atlanta in the season as a visiting player. It's like, no, that's my other lady. And it's like, damn it, but we're going to be screwed forever.
It was just a few weeks ago on the NBA show on Thursday night. They had one of the rookies on, and that was one of the Shaq's closing comments, like, stay out of Magic City.
Exactly. Because Shaq
maybe it was during the All-Star game or one of those weekends.
Shaq works right down the street from the Magic City. Shaq knows. He knows about the magnetic lure. And the thing is, freaking TNT is... It's not next to the Cheetah, but it's close. But again, it's fascinating to me. It's fascinating. Cheetah was world-renowned.
Distance.
Yeah, the Cheetah was world-renowned, and Magic City was like, no, you don't. I'm like, well, go on, y'all.
Cheetah, you have to, that's the one where you have to dress up and look all presentable like.
Yeah, the Cheetah will throw you out. Yeah. Magic City only throw you out if you act a fool, man. But you're right. There's like dress codes at the Cheetah. I'm like, man, screw that, dude. I go to the city. Magic City's got that great mural on the side of it too, man. Don't get me wrong. If you look at the mural on Magic City, you would never know. It's got nothing to do with being a strip club. It's nothing like that. It's just this. It's always had this fantastic artwork on the side of the building. I just remember I was like, man, what? That's awesome. What is that? That's Magic City. And this is when I was 14, man, going down to Knights games. Because if you go from where we live over west of Atlanta. And if you drive in, man, you'll go, I mean, it's not like you go right past it where it's like, hey, there's the entrance, but you'll see it. You can totally see it from 75, 85. You'll see it. It's just like, man, that's really cool. I wonder what that is. Oh, that's Magic City. Awesome. What's Magic City? Oh. So, the 14-year-old white dude asks you, oh, what's Magic City? It's like, that's not an easy question to answer. It's like,
why don't you not worry about that?
Exactly. And see, now it's simple. See, this is the difference from when we grew up. When I was 14 and you ask somebody, what's Magic City? They make that face. Oh. Whereas now they can just say, hey, Google it.
Yeah.
Why don't you Google that, son?
Shut up, boy.
Shut up, boy. You keep the Magic City to yourself, boy.
Shut up, boy. Daddy's driving.
Yeah. Google it. Keep what you say to yourself.
Never you worry about that, boy.
Don't you worry about the Magic City. You worry about the
Me and
time Daddy spends at Magic City.
Me and Mike Wilbon had a bad experience at the Magic City.
I think that might be what happened to Mike. That's exactly what happened to Mike Wilbon. And Steve Spurrier took him to Magic City, and it didn't go well. I think you nailed it.
Came down for the SEC title one year and had a bad experience at the Gold Club or Magic City.
Michael Wilbon came on down to see us get our team picture taken. That is one of the better. Steve's got some zinger, crap talk zingers that are among the best, man. Like one of my favorite ones ever, man.
5-11.
Hey, Coach Steve, how you gonna beat Tennessee? Same way we beat Vanderbilt. that one's good. But Atlanta being the location for the team picture was like, ooh, god dang, man.
I hate how accurate that is.
Dude, that's the thing. It's one of the things that learned, and I say that because college football now, man, is so many hangers on that it's like most people don't even know. But if you've been around for a while and you've known about it for a while, it's one of the very few things that Tech fans and Georgia fans can both commiserate on. Because, man, when Steve Spurrier was at Duke, for God's sake, at Duke, he just ruined our lives. They beat the crap out of us all the time. It's like, God almighty, what is going on here, man?
Yeah.
I know I told you, man. We had the battle for last place. I think it was 88 or 89, and they beat the snot out of us, man. And after the game, it was like, well, Coach, that's really good. You know, you guys, you're not in last place. I'll tell you something right now. I ain't never lose to Georgia Tech. I'm like, but he was like so disgusted when he said it. I'm like, oh, man, you. It was such a prick thing to say, but you have to take your hat off. It was hilarious.
That's a freaking Spurrier clip that Tony Kornheiser plays on his podcast. He likes it a lot. He's like, 5-11. Not that good. Not the worst, but not that good.
Not the worst, but not that good. That's good old DC Steve Spurrier. God, wouldn't it be great if they hired him back? The Washington football team's head coach, the head ball coach.
All right.
It's time to show you guys some shit. That'd be great, man.
I've been waiting on this mess.
Real man, I knew my time would come.
Heck yeah, man.
Hey, Danny, it's nice to see you. What the hell we call this thing?
Huh? Do what?
Do what? Oh, it's stupid.
That's freaking dumb.
That's
whatever.
Dumb, Dan. God dang, whatever. All right, man.
Or the Washington footballs or something. I don't know.
I don't know. We watched it 5-11s.
5-11? Not that good.
The Washington's not the worst, but not that good. That's the whole name of the team now.
Heck yeah, man.
Dude,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's an awesome one, man.
You too. I'll see y'all.